Hello and welcome back to episode 8 of Weekly Bee. Today I'm going to tell you how I hacked the Carmel jumpsuit into a dress, how my purple knitted sweater is going, and what is happening with my sewing pattern that I was supposed to release a while ago. So first up, my Carmel jumpsuit, well, not a jumpsuit, my Carmel dress has now been finished. Let me start from the beginning to the end, what actually happened throughout the whole process. So first of all, the bodice was made and I made the bust starts according to the pattern. First time I had made the Carmel jumpsuit, I used a viscose, which meant that it draped quite nicely across my bust, and I didn't really notice that the darts weren't in the right place. This one is made in a cotton lawn and it has a bit more structure, so I could clearly see that the bust darts weren't in the right place. When I made the bust darts, I had started with my normal stitch length, the 2.4, and as I got closer to the point of the bust dart, I lowered my stitch length to a 1 millimeter because I didn't want to have to tie them off. So when I went to try and unpick those 1 millimeter stitches, it was near impossible because I couldn't even see the little loops so that I could get my unpicker underneath it. I ended up giving up, so I just drew a straight line from the edge of the fabric all the way to the new dot that I had marked as my apex. And when I stitched it, I was left with a little bit of a ripple and I had to kind of press the heck out of it just so I could get it to lie as flat as possible because I really had no other way unless I cut out a new bodice. Moving on from the bust dart, I then put a zipper in. I used an invisible brown zipper I had in my stash because I didn't want to buy anything new. I'm trying to use whatever I can from my stash before buying anything, and this year, the year of 2025, I can say I have not bought a single thing sewing related that I can remember. Anyway, I inserted the zipper, it went in the first time and it's not as invisible as I would like it to be, but I don't think you can notice that it is a different color. The bodice was finished and now I moved on to the skirt. So I measured from where the bodice ended all the way up to where I wanted my skirt to finish, and that was roughly about 4 to 5 centimeters above my ankles. When I tried my dress on to see how much of a hem I wanted, I noticed that my dress was actually sweeping the floor. How did I measure this? I am not entirely sure, but I ended keeping all of that fabric in the hem. I ended up thinking if later on I want to play with the length of the skirt, I have that extra bit just to mess around with, because if I had to cut that off, I could probably turn it into a scrunchie because there was 4.5 inches of hem that I kept on the dress. But instead of chopping it off, I thought let me leave it because later on if I want to make the dress shorter, I will actually have a longer piece of fabric to play with. And to finish off my Carmel jumpsuit hack, I decided to make an elastic channel in the waist just to bring in the dress a bit more. I always feel that when I leave things floating, I kind of get drowned inside of the garments, so I always either tend to add ties or elasticated waists into my garment. So all I did for this one is I pressed the seam allowance up like the pattern calls for, and I stitched really close to the edge of my seam allowance just to create a channel, left a little opening, inserted my elastic and then just closed it, and that was that. Next time I decide to make a Carmel jumpsuit hack, even if there is going to be a next time, I will definitely get a longer zipper because it is still a bit of a wiggle getting out. So this zipper is only 8 inches. I would probably go to a 12, even 14 or 16 inch zipper. I will probably also think about adding more gathers, or let's say cutting a bigger rectangle out widthways, because I feel like I may have a bit of a tight walk in them, but I can't exactly tell yet because I haven't actually worn the dress out. This is just what I have felt walking around here in my sewing room. So now that my Carmel dress is finished, I can now move on to my next sewing project, and I would like to ask you for a little bit of help on deciding what to make next. Every morning when I get dressed, I clearly see that I am missing bottoms in my wardrobe, and I always reach for the 3 to 4 pants and skirts that I have. So I definitely want to make more bottoms. So I have pulled out 2 skirts that I want to make in 2 different fabrics that have been in my stash for a bit. First up, I was thinking of making a skirt in this fabric that I used to make a skirt for my daughter's teacher last year. I made the Sabina skirt for my daughter's teacher, and after seeing it, I kind of wanted to make one for myself too. So I'm thinking of lengthening the skirt a little bit and adding side slits. For some reason, I'm into side slits lately, so that's what I want to do for this version as well. Option number 2 is another skirt, but using this fabric, which is an African wax fabric that I got, I think 2 years ago now, at an Abercan sale. I am just in love with this fabric with the deep blue background and kind of this orangey brown and black chickens with some eggs and little chicks as well all over it. I have been wanting to make something with this fabric for the longest of time, and I wasn't really sure what to make with it, and I think making a skirt is going to be the way forward for it. Making a skirt out of this is going to be pretty structured and I think flare out a bit, and I'm not exactly sure if my pattern choice is going to be the best option. I am thinking about making the ruby skirt from Sew Over It. It is a free pattern, by the way, the same as a Sabina skirt. This skirt has a flat front waistband and a button placket down the front, and it also has an elasticated waistband at the back, which is kind of what I want because it will give me enough room to wiggle around in. I'm not sure though if I want to add the button placket at the front because I feel it's going to cut up my print. I'm probably going to omit that button placket if we decide to go with this fabric and this pattern. Please help me decide between which of these two I should be making this week by leaving a comment down below. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please click the like button down below to let me know. Moving on to my purple knitted Gumdrops Sweater. I have now completed both front and back bodices and I'm busy working on the crocheted vertical line. I have really been enjoying doing the crochet vertical lines, but I have hit a bit of a bump because I am not sure how many crocheted lines I actually want to make. So this is one of the bodices, which was actually the first one that I ended up finishing. I made a single crocheted lines across, alternating between the red and the cream. And when I looked at it, and my partner as well, we kind of felt that something was missing. When I crocheted the back bodice, I decided to add a few more extra vertical rows, and I think I'm liking this version more. So I decided to add red just on either side of the cream rows that I made, and I decided to add cream to the outside of the red vertical row, which is towards the outmost of my panel. Adding these extra vertical rows, I feel it has given it definitely more of a tartan vibe, so I think I'm going to be adding more rows to the other bodice as well. I'm definitely running low on my red and my pink, and I will have to get an extra skein each of the pink bubblegum, I think it was, and the red, is it scarlet red? And now let me tell you what is happening with my bag patterns, with my website, because that has been taking us ages to get ready. So the website is finally finished now, and we have all descriptions, images, listings, everything is on the website. The only thing that I am waiting for now is getting my pattern printed on paper. So if this is your first time around here, I have designed this bag, which I have named the Roma Necessaire. And as a little treat, the first few people that buy my bag, I am planning to send out a printed version to you. There's just been a bit of a delay because the company that I have been dealing with, they are taking their time and sending me out a price list. I am hoping that they get back to me really quickly, and by the end of this week I am hoping that I can get everything launched because I'm kind of tired of waiting all this time. Follow along all of my socials, Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you can be kept in the loop for when I finally release this pattern. And if you want to join me and other sewers in the community for a day of sewing, I host monthly sewing socials called the Sew and Bond. I will leave a link in the description below for you to be able to get more information on that, but our next one is on the 26th of April, so I really hope that I get to meet you there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and that's it from me today. Bye for now.